Hey class, this is Mrs. Lynn. Welcome to another week of remote learning. I hope you guys had a good week, that you were able to finish your classwork for last week without too many issues. I know I talked to a couple of you during the week to walk you through some levels. So just remember, if you ever run into issues during the week with puzzles on code.org, you can always reach out to me and I'm here to help. So this week we're going to go into code.org again and complete lesson 7 together. Lesson 7 is all about something called variables. Okay, and it's kind of a really big concept in the world of programming. So I want to make sure you understand how it's used and why it is used by the end of the week. So there is a really handy variable video within code.org that you can watch that it kind of explains how it's used. But just to give you a quick definition, a variable is basically a container that programmers use to hold a piece of information that can change. Okay, so a lot of times we use these variables because that piece of information is used many times in the same program. And if that information changes, we don't want to have to go through the entire code to look for where that information is used and having to change it in all those different places. We want to be able to just change um, the information in one place in the container that we've set it to be, and then have it change everywhere else automatically. Okay, so that's one instance where we use variables. It's when um, the variable is used in a lot of different places within the program. Okay, and another reason we might use variables is if you don't know what information is going to be used in a certain place until you run the program. So a lot of programs that computer programmers write depend on or rely on user input, right? So for example, I might run a fun program that asks for your age, and then I calculate how old you'll be in 10 years. Okay, so the user would have to supply their age into my program in order for me to calculate how old that person will be in 10 years. Well, that information changes, right, depending on who's using my program. So if I'm using the program, I might enter my age right now, 40 something, um, but if you're using the program, you might be entering a whole other piece of information. So when the programmer doesn't know at the when he or she is writing the program what that number is going to be, a lot of times they will create a variable or a box or a container that lets users put in information as the program is being run. Okay, so I hope that kind of um, start to explain a little bit what a variable is. It is a pretty big concept. So if that doesn't help, and if the video on code.org doesn't help, feel free to Google um, maybe like variable definitions or variable explanations on YouTube, and there should be some helpful videos on there as well. Okay, so for now, let me just show you a couple of the levels we can walk through together, um, and hopefully you will see how they're used practically in code.org. All right, so I'm not actually going to look through levels 1 and 2 with you. It's just a review of how you draw in the game space. Okay, level 3 is that video I was talking about. It's a very helpful video. It's quick. Okay, so you can watch it a couple times, and hopefully that explains why and how we use variables. But I want to show you level 5, which I believe is the first level where you can actually use a variable. So let's go to that puzzle really quick. And really quickly, I want to clear my work because I've already worked through some of these puzzles, and I just want to clear my work so we can kind of start from the very beginning together. Okay. All right. So I'm going to click start over. Okay, so it says before things get tricky, can you move the length of 50 into a variable so we can use it in the next few puzzles? All right, so in this level, I'm supposed to draw three triangles. Okay, and I can see that in the code that's already given to me, I'm going to repeat three times. Okay, this these lines of code. So it's actually a nested loop, right? There's one loop inside another. So that's called nested loop, which we looked at last week. Okay, so let's see what this loop does, the very inside loop. It says repeat three times, move forward by, and we don't know how many pixels we want, but it looks like 50. So let's see if we can, oh, we can actually do anything right now because because I'm inside my video. All right, so it says move forward by a number of pixels and then turn left by 120 degrees. Okay, that will turn my person before they draw the next line. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat that three times. So I draw a triangle and then I have to move forward by another 50 pixels. Okay, that'll get me to this other starting point so I can draw the second triangle. Okay, so once my artist has moved to the second point right here, okay, then it's going to repeat the nested loop again, right, and draw a second triangle. Okay, and then it's going to move again. Now, again, I can see that the number 50 is going to be used in this block right here when I'm moving forward by 50 pixels and also right here. So the number 50 is going to be used at least two times in this little program alone. Okay, so this is when, since I have a piece of information that's used multiple times within a program, um, I can actually set a variable. Okay, and we want to set a variable um, in the very beginning, right after this when run. Um, okay, and the variable is going to be called length. Okay, because basically this is the length of what we're going to be drawing, the line that we're going to be drawing. Okay, so the variable's name is length, and we're going to set the initial value to 50 because it says to 50 here. Okay. Now, how do we use this variable in our program? Well, where are we going to set the number of pixels? We already said that it was going to be right here where we need to refer to this 50 pixels and right here, right? So we're moving forward by 50 pixels and then right here we're moving forward by 50 pixels. But instead of saying 50, we're going to say we're going to move by the length, okay? We're going to move it by the length number of pixels. Well, length is 50, right? Which we set here. Okay. So we're going to move that here. Okay. Now, when we run it, um, we'll grab this length, which is set to 50, and then draw everything by 50 pixels. Okay. I'm actually going to hit replay because I want to show you what happens if I decided, you know what, I want to change the length of my triangles to something bigger. Okay. Well, instead of changing it here, let's say I want to change the number of pixels to 100. Instead of changing it here and here and having to remember all the different places I need to specify the number of pixels, I can just change the length of my lines right here. Okay, so if I just do it here, it automatically knows that the length, anytime I refer to the length variable, that it's going to be 100 now instead of 50. Okay, now I'm going to run this program. It's going to say that I made a mistake because it wants me to draw something that's 50 in length, but I just want to show you what actually does happen. Okay, so now as you can see, one of my triangles is 100 length, right? Okay, so it's going to say it's not quite right because my length is set to 100 now instead of 50. But do you see how the variable right here lets me change the value of that length in a really kind of efficient way? I only have to change it here once, right? And everything else automatically follows, okay? Because it's just referring to this length. So I hope that was that's kind of clear why we use variables. Okay. And again, this is going to say, nope, that's not quite right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and change that back to 50 to make my little program happy. Okay. And then we're going to move on to the next level. All right. So my computer is pretty slow today. Let's see what level 6 is. I might again have to start it over. Oop, I don't think so because I don't think I actually, I think I already reset it. All right, so this one says now use the length variable that we've already set to 50 to have the artist jump forward and down by length pixels between triangles. Now I'm going to start walking you through this together because this is a little bit tricky. So remember the first, the innermost loop draws one of these triangles, right? So we're going to move forward by length pixels, which is 50. And then we're going to turn left, so kind of turn upwards, right, by 120 degrees. And then we're going to draw another line, okay? So anytime you have move forward, it basically draws the line, okay? And then we're going to turn left again and down here. So after this first inner loop, we should have one triangle, and we're going to end up where we started, okay? But now we have to jump forward. So jumping forward basically lets us get to this um, place where we have to, this point where we have to turn and drop down without drawing a second line. So the jump is a little bit different from move forward because the jump lets you jump without actually drawing a line. Okay, so right now it says jump forward by length pixel. So we're going to jump over from this point to this point, okay, without drawing a line, okay. But the next thing we need to do is actually we have to jump down, okay. So how do you get from this point to this point without drawing a line? Well, we probably should turn, right? So we're going to turn our person from facing this way. Okay, this is where you have to use your imagination. So right now we're facing the right of my screen. So we're gonna have to turn right, in order to face downwards. So in order to do that, we're gonna turn right. And this time we're gonna turn right by, let's see, is it 90 degrees? Okay, so turn right by 90 degrees. Okay, and then that should get us to turn right, and then we're going to jump forward again. Okay, let's see, where's that jump forward by 50 pixels. Okay, and that should get us here. And then we're still facing down, so we're going to have to turn right again. No, turn left again. Okay, by I believe 120, but I'm kind of losing my perspective. So let's try this set of codes and see what happens. Okay, I'm really bad at visualizing my angles, so let's make sure. Let's run it and see what happens. I might have done it totally wrong. Oh, yeah. As you can see, I got my angles a little bit wrong there, didn't I? All right, so let's try turning left by 90 degrees. Let's see if we have that right. We're debugging, guys. This is fine. We're learning how to spot errors in our code, and we're debugging. All right, I think we got it that time, right? So we turn left by 90 degrees. And then we're basically going to, and that's how we jump, um, right? So we're jumping forward from this point to point B, and then we're turning right by 90 degrees, and then we're going to go forward again, right, by 50 pixels. Then we're going to turn left by 90 degrees and then start drawing that second triangle. All right, so that's kind of what you have to do when it says have your artist jump forward and down. Okay, in another level, it's going to ask you to have your artist jump forward and up. So you're going to have to try to figure out how you would get from that one point of the triangle to the next one, okay, before you draw another triangle. Okay, so that's like kind of the hardest level probably there because of that jumping forward and down instruction. Hopefully I didn't confuse you further by messing up on my angles there. But this is what coding is all about, right? We try certain codes, and if it doesn't work, we try to figure out where we went wrong and try to fix it. So, anyways, I hope you have fun with this lesson, and that you understand variables. If you don't, remember during the week, just reach out to me. Or on Friday, we can spend some time to talk about it together as a class. But yeah, have fun with it. And I hope you have a great week. If I don't see you before Friday, but hopefully I'll see everyone on Friday. Stay safe and healthy and have fun.